Hey everyone, Trackmaster Tehachapi here. Welcome back to the layout. A lot's changed since it's last been shown off in a video, and I asked you all how you wanted me to show off the layout, and you said you wanted an entire tour remake, so I'm here to deliver. So without further ado, let's get into the tour. We've got a lot to cover. We'll start our tour off here in Bakersfield and work our way eastbound, similar to the real railroad. This is Bakersfield, the main staging yard of the layout where all the trains are assembled and stored until they're ready for running. This yard includes 4 active tracks, a main line, and a clever little loop line so trains can turn around and head back up the pass without needing to be completely reassembled. Of course, in real life, Bakersfield actually has 2 yards, Union Pacific and BNSF, so to be able to model both of them, I used an overpass to separate the yard in half, with one half being dedicated to BNSF and the other Union Pacific. This overpass is eventually going to get an upgrade to have cars go over it, and a sky backdrop to separate the 2 halves even more, which means I can be allowed to model my favorite scenes from the BNSF yard in Bakersfield and the Union Pacific yard, and even have the station in service if I ever do Southern Pacific passenger air operations. We'll leave the yard now, and we'll head on to the actual main line that heads up the pass. First off is East Edison, aka the Johnston Farms Railroad Crossing. There's not too much to show off here right now, after all it is just a spur, but in the future I do plan on putting the billboard and buildings and putting a little railroad crossing scene here. The next location is going to be the Commanchie Drive Railroad Crossing. Similar to East Edison, I also plan on modeling and 3D printing an accurate gas station to go here. It's just going to be a neat little scene that trains can roll by. And then here is Sandcut, Bena, and Ilmon, all 3 of which serve as the gateway to the loop line. Double track ends here at Bena, with a neat little spring-powered switch to keep the tracks in order, and the trains running on the right side. Ilmon is gonna curve around, be hidden by a mountain, and disappear behind a backdrop, where eventually the loop line is gonna take it up and connect to the top layer at the bridge. That's about all there really is to say about this layer, so let's move up one with the actual scenery. Our first stop on this layer is the town of Caliente. In real life, it's a complete horseshoe, although for space restraints and fitting it in, I've had to widen the horseshoe a little so it doesn't even fully loop around like the real thing does. Also worth noting that the actual track layout has been flipped to real life, where in real life uphills and downhills would be going the opposite way as these Trackmasters. Currently, the only scenery plans are telephone poles, the post office, and some little 2D houses in the backdrop. Other than that, not much to say. Moving on is Bealville, which is probably one of the most scenic and photogenic locations on the layout so far. This area features telephone poles, trees, and plenty of mountain scenery, perfect for shooting, as well as a little railroad crossing. This also has some of the work-in-progress modern signals. Of course, only one of them stands right now, as the other 2 are currently being glued and repaired after snapping in half due to trains hitting them. These will be back up on the layout eventually, after a couple small fixes and tweaks done. Of course, that's all well and good, but we still have the next location to cover, Cliff. Technically divided in 2 areas, the actual horseshoe area with the buried remains of the Tunnel 4 after the 1952 earthquake, and the actual scenic spot, which is, well, a cliff. I knew since the first time I started modeling Tehachapi that this was a location and scene that I wanted to have on my layout, and it's an iconic one that has stood through railfan photography throughout all the decades it's been filmed. Currently, the only scenery plans are maybe a few more trees, some modern signals, and maybe a walkway that goes along the side, like the real cliff has. Other than that, I'd say that this is probably one of the closest to completion locations on the entire layout. So we can move on down the hill a little, or I guess uphill in the real railroad, but downhill on the layout is Woodford. This area has probably the most scenery so far, featuring trees, a quarry, a potable water tank system, and a highway overpass. This area of course is going to be upgraded with 3D printed scenery as the future comes closer, with an actual 3D printed overpass, which will make a perfect shooting spot for some neat photos and videos. Of course that's all well and good, but scenery has to be completed first, and perhaps the biggest piece here is the highway overpass. Currently it's just foam board temporarily, which as you can see is flimsy and doesn't support matchbox cars very well. So this will be upgraded and 3D printed in the future to allow for actual cars. Now what is probably the centerpiece of the entire layout, Walong, aka the Tehachapi Loop. This area has seen the most work over the time it's been built, and it's definitely coming along significantly farther than I expected. Currently, work in progress looks like modern signals and a rebuild of the half-tunnel tin, as it's proven to be a little flimsy and the dirt doesn't often want to stick and likes to fall on the tracks, which can derail other trains. Also, the grass coat here is really thin because I ran dry on it, and further down behind it is cable. There's really not much to say here other than maybe the cable crossover will be put in the back and a little bridge will be put at the curve, just like the real cable, which is visible and visitable from the actual park. Of course, a much more interesting location lies just down the line. Just shy layout eastbound of cable is Tehachapi, which is going to be the main town scene of the entire layout. So far, I've completed buildings such as the depot and Conan's, and even the 2009 caboose. Of course, this is still a heavy work in progress, so scenes will be painted, like sidewalks, the guidance signals, and more buildings will follow suit to truly complete Tehachapi and make it look like the real town. Locations will include the real estate ranch, the gift shop, Kelsey's and Burger Spot, as well as the Treasure Trove Christian Store, Railroad Park, and every other icon on Main Street. And right next to Tehachapi is the cement plant at Monolith. Currently, it's nothing more than just a placeholder concept sketch made out of foam board, drawings on the ground, and a single siding. Of course, this will all be changed and will be 3D printed at some point in the future when scenery actually reaches here. We can quickly graze over Warren and Cameron, as there's not really too much to talk about other than they're my favorite desert scenes on the layout. So yeah, same with all the other locations, just modern signals and any other generic scenes that may happen here. The next up is Mojave, which is technically the bridge where the layers connect. This is a specially designed crossover bridge, so trains would be able to come down, go to Bakersfield, turn around, and turn back to run along the layout in the opposite direction. It also comes with small little cardboard guide rails so trains don't derail. But anyways, that's about it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry if I don't sound 100% right now. And more updates will be coming soon. Of course, now that school is in session and kind of in full swing with midterms, layout update videos might be getting shorter since I'll have less to show off. Of course, I'll compensate with this with more operations videos to keep you all happy and entertained. But anyways, that's about it. I'm Trackmaster Tehachapi, and thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe, have a heritage unit, and see you in the next one. Bye!